A person is made up of a lot of different feelings and koiches and emotions. We all know you have different moods and different states and different stages in life and so many different experiences. In Asiya, everything is more isolated. The higher you go, the more the unity, the more the integration, the more the synthesis. To give an example, sometimes one of the differences you'll say between immaturity and maturity is a person has, it's basically, are you one-dimensional or not? A person has a certain emotion. As soon as you see a child, it has a certain emotion. There's no room for anything else. There's no negotiations. Huh? Sorry, no negotiations. Now there's something refreshing about it because it's authentic. Now I'm crying, I'm going to cry for the next hour and that's it. There's nothing to talk about. But the sign of maturity is the ability to be able to appreciate right now there's another perspective. There's another way of looking at it. There's something that has to be done. To be able to put it on the side and to be able to focus on something else. To be able to also appreciate that this may be true right now. I may have to be able to see things in a different way. It doesn't mean to judge what you're feeling and delegitimize it, but it means the ability to understand your limitations and the fact that there may be more to the story. Whenever I have an emotion and that's the only thing that exists and I start worshiping it, it's often a sign of a lack of maturity and a lack of growth. Because a person may be in a very difficult emotional state. Something may trigger you very, very heavily. But if that becomes the only reality that exists and nothing else, you can get stuck there and submerged in the quicksand. There's the ability to say, yes, this is what I'm feeling right now. And the reason may be X or Y or Z. And yet have the ability to be able to put it aside for a moment, or not even to put it aside, to honor it and to respect it. And then to be able to say, but what do I really want to do now? Is this the action I want to take? Because if every action you take is just following your impulse at that moment, it can get very, very ugly. Sometimes I have to be able to say, this is my emotion. I want to say certain words to you because that's what I'm feeling. But saying those words could really burn a lot of bridges. They could be very negative. Sometimes take with your child. Something happens, you really want to say certain things. So some people do that and then they regret it for 5 years, right? Like telling your child, you don't belong in this house, get out of my house, find another house, and then the father calms down. Somebody calms him down and he realizes it was the wrong thing to say to his teenage girl. What happened? What happened was I had a strong emotion and I said it. Your strong emotions you tell your therapist, not your daughter. So what, am I supposed to deny my emotion? You don't have to deny your emotions, but I have to ask a question. What are the words I really want to say that will promote a relationship and what are not? I am feeling horrible. I'm feeling crazy. Okay. You're a person. You have your limitations. Mensch. Fine. Something took you over. Maybe something, a very deep trigger, who knows, from your childhood. Your psychoanalyst will figure that out. Or maybe you'll figure it out one day, or maybe not. But it's not always so relevant because the question is, so what's going to be my behavior now? What am I going to say? What am I going to do? What am I going to think? Where am I going to go with this? The ability of maturity, the ability of development is always the ability to be able to see another side and to be able to say, I'm not going to speak the words that are dictated by this emotion because these words I may regret very, very badly. I want to ultimately, yes, I'm in the mood of running away for life. People have that. But I don't really want to run away for life. I really want to be close to you. So therefore, I'm going to transcend that instinct and I'm going to choose what is really valuable to me. So I'm going to say words that will ultimately help us come closer together. The more a person can do that, the more a person can actually heal and bring things together. It's always the ability to be able to see things from a more inclusive state, not get stuck and what's the word? Fixated, sucked in. Yeah. That's why the higher the world, the higher the consciousness, the more there's the unity of the spheres. In a lower primitive place, everything is a nakuda. That's it there is. This is what I'm feeling. This is the only reality. There's no other reality. The deeper a person goes into a higher state of consciousness, what do you mean a higher state of consciousness? The deeper you go, every sphere becomes part of a network. There's a web. There's a food chain. There's a food web. There's a web. There's a network. There's Chesed and there's Gvura and there's Tiferes and there's Netzach and there's Hoyer and there's Yisrael and there's Malchus and there's Chachma, there's Bina, there's Das, there's Keser. And the deeper you go, the more unity, the more each one is inclusive of all the other ones. There's different dimensions of it. There's different aspects of it. Generally speaking also, the more on a different level, but it's all connected, the higher you go, the deeper you go, B'chlal things become more united. Because the source of Achdus is Hashem. The more one feels the divine, the more united things are. The less I feel the divine, the more disconnected things are. So you have two separate people, they're completely disconnected. I am I and you are you. I take care of me, you take care of me. The more we go to a higher state of consciousness, the more disconnection.